Hello everybody, welcome to the newest video and part 2 of the rise of the British Empire. The whole story of it. So, we're now just going to talk about the next step in their direction. They recently, last time we talked, they reunified. They formed together with Scotland and England. They would create the British Empire, and they would also take Ireland with it. And due to this now like brotherhood, right? They would have a brotherhood, and they would all no longer just be English, Scottish. They would be now seeing themselves as British. This new sharing of brotherhood had made them extremely powerful, and they wanted to show the world that they were strong and that they could pull off anything. So what would happen is the colonization era. This would be around 1700, and well, yeah, they would find some of the first colonies right after Spain, Portugal, and France, and they would basically make their own colonies, the ones that we know perfectly, the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies would be established by the British, and it was going really well for them. Now, there was a lot of problems, like Jamestown, right? But eventually they would find ways where they would solve these problems, and they would be very smart, right? The other one is called Plymouth, one where it was more religion based, and it would help establish something very, very major for years to come. So Britain now has major colonies, but they're nowhere near the French. The French have way more land. I'm talking like tripled. You know, the French make the British look like nothing. This is back when the French basically ruled the world. This is maybe like their height, right? Right, you know, maybe before Napoleon, but in terms of land, I would say this is probably some of their best era. And yeah, they would be more aggressive due to the fact that they could easily just take all the 13 colonies. And so Britain would be clever on how they did everything. The first thing they would do that would make them much stronger is commercial trading. They would make sure to trade everywhere and to get their hands everywhere, right? They would put their hands a lot in places, and they would be strategic about everything. 2 is the ships. They would build a Royal Navy, and they would continue shipbuilding. And due to them building so many ships, it would allow them to basically have a naval power. And the geography for Britain was perfect. Like, look at it. It's all like one giant island, you know, and it helped them enormously. Due to the fact that they became a naval power, they were able to outdo the French in the colonies. And the first war we would see is the War of Spanish Succession. Now, I won't go too much in detail through the whole war, but what I will say is that it was a fight on preventing France and Spain from becoming too powerful. I might make a video on this another time, but basically what was going on is Britain would win, and they would take a bit of territories. Now, it wasn't an enormous amount, but it did create a major change. And after this war, they would be the #1 naval power of all of Europe, which made them of the world, since Europe was still very powerful at the time. And well, yeah, Britain was succeeding and become a rising power to the rest of the world. The second war they would go in is the 7 Years' War. I'm much more familiar with this one. Basically, in the 7 Years' War, they would fight enormously, but the Britain would go in even more. So it was even a more major fight, which made it even worse because once they won, they were able to take even more land, and no one really had much of an excuse not to give it to them, right? Because they pulled in a lot more, which meant they gained more. So they would beat the French, they would gain enormous amounts of land, which included all of Canada, and well, because of this, it became so expensive to hold everything. Oh my, the war was so expensive that they needed to increase taxes. And well, that's kind of where we see America. Many people would start rebelling due to the enormous amounts of taxes given. Some of the amounts going a little farther than what they should have done. And well, because of this would lead to the American Revolution. The British were embarrassed due to the loss of it all. It was funny because the French sacrificed everything just so Britain wouldn't be able to win. They put so much in there that this actually started the whole French Revolution in the first place. And America didn't give a single penny to help out the French, even though the French did everything. They were so angry at the British that they just made really dumb decisions and weren't being rash. So yeah, America had the best deal ever, and the British would not, they would be denied the modern day American territories. Luckily for them, they still kept Canada, and Canada would stay with them. The only problem was Quebec, due to how it was very French speaking, but we'll go into that another time. So that was kind of the end of the colonies, specifically in the middle and southern regions of the Americas for the British colonization, but they were able to secure Canada, and at the time still contained the Hudson Bay River and the company there. So yeah, things were going super well for the British. This was a growing power for them. Like, they were doing amazing, and no one could really stop them. We'll join in next time for episode 3, where we're going to talk about a bunch of new wars they'll go in, and how they increase themselves to become even stronger. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.